Hello, fellow YouTubers. I'm kind of new to the website. I'd like to say I've been a long-time visitor, but I haven't. In fact, I've only browsed the site for a couple weeks. I only really started getting interested in everybody started calling Lonely Girl fake. Because, let's face it, I had no idea who this Lonely Girl person was. I wound up looking at all of her videos and then looking at all the videos proclaiming why she was fake, and, well, that kind of got me hooked a little bit on this site. So, well, first things first, this is my first video, so let's get the introductions out of the way. My name is Rob, and I'm from Virginia, born and raised. And I entered the military in 2000. I've been in for over 5 years. In fact, I hit my 6-year mark November 1st. Been living in the barracks for quite some time. Finally got a place of my own, and oh, that feels so good. Barracks life is not exactly the greatest in the world. We have these things called room inspections. Imagine this. Let's say you have an apartment. The building manager, while you're out at work, will go into your room, point out every single thing that's wrong with it pertaining to cleaning, and then he will leave a piece of paper out in plain view for you to find it when you return home from work, saying that you need to fix all this stuff. If you have too many check marks off on this little sheet, then you get a reinspection the next day. I really don't have a problem with room inspections themselves, but the managers running this thing, I think they were full of themselves, because 80% of the hits I found to be very questionable. They would, for example, hit me on having a dirty mirror, and I would stare at this mirror for over a minute trying to figure out what is so wrong with this thing, and sometimes I'd find maybe one or two little dots of whatever toothpaste on it. Other times I wouldn't find anything at all, and that was the majority of the time. Building manager actually came in one day while I was on my lunch break, and I was able to ask him why they kept hitting me on the mirrors. It was because, get this, streaks. Streaks you couldn't even see unless you stared at the mirror at a 53-degree angle. So, yeah. That was just one. Another thing they liked to hit me on was the toilet. Being a guy, But no matter how thoroughly I wiped down that toilet, they still hit me on it, and I've yet to this day figure out what they were talking about. And another thing they just loved hitting me on was not having my trash out every day. I have a 13-gallon trash can. You don't take that thing out every day. You wait for it to get full before you take it out. Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. So, I ask them about that, and they say, hey, it's right there in the rules. You need to take it out every day. That trash can needs to be empty every day. And why? So no bugs will get into your room. No insects, no spiders, no nothing. Okay, first things first, I have a 13-gallon can. You don't take it out every day. That's just stupid. And secondly, you only get bugs and insects when you leave your trash there over time, not when you take it out regularly, like every week or so. And plus, I was on the 3rd floor. You don't hardly ever get bugs or insects on the 3rd floor. In fact, I have yet to see one on the 3rd floor of any building. Those things like to stay on the 1st floor. And other than that, the hits were very, very minor. Like, for example, they'd hit me on having a dirty not a kitchen sink, a bathroom sink. You know what would be so dirty about that sink, there would be one hair left on there. It's not that it was dirty, it's because there's a hair there, probably from that morning. And that's considered a hit. If you get enough of these hits, they perform a reinspection the next day. So it's yeah. They kept hitting me over and over and over again on all of these stupid little hits that don't mean a thing. And finally, it got to the point where, even though I had gotten a satisfactory after, they do the little marking off on the sheet thing, they threatened me by telling me that if I didn't fix all of these hits, they were going to lock me out of my room. Yeah. It's easy for them to do because the barracks use key cards to enter the room instead of regular keys, which is bull. Because I need regular keys. I have no idea how many times I've locked myself out because they use key cards instead of real keys. So I was none too happy with them when they made that little statement. So anyway, I got tired of their tyrannical rule, and so I finally went on a little place of my own, so now I can take my new house and shove it up their butt right alongside the stick they seem to have there. Good times. Very, very good times. Hated them. It's not that birthing inspections are bad. There's a perfectly reasonable explanation why they do them. You see, back in the days of wooden ships, and the quarantine flag went up faster than the lookout did, there, a lot of deaths, a lot of diseases on those places, and so they performed a thorough inspection on many of the naval ships to figure out where all these diseases and whatnots were coming from, and it turned out they came from two specific areas, the kitchens and the bedrooms. And so now it's become not only naval history and tradition, but it's also pretty much naval law. I guess it's military law, too, to inspect both the kitchen and the berthings on a regular basis. It's completely understandable, and I have no problem with them invading my privacy, pointing out all this stuff that's wrong. But they pointed out 80% of the time stuff that wasn't wrong. Hits that were so minor, they were not worth the effort to clean. And I really got tired of that. So, new home, up the ass. And that's about it. Hope you've enjoyed my first rant. I'm sure it won't be the last one, but yeah. Hope you like me. If not, oh well. You'll find somebody else to watch. Bye.